couple of dollars, you know. We got a few coins.
I think we should start out by asking everyone what's her favorite pop song. Oh.
That's a good one for this segment. Nobody's asked that this far, right? And not
Really?
press conference. They've asked me like interviews, but not like this kind of setting.
Right.
But mine is Dear Mama.
Okay.
Mine is Changes.
Brenda's got a baby.
You know what's interesting? We all three said songs that were socially conscious in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't say like necessarily. I mean, they all went pop and they all were massive hits, but they weren't like necessarily songs like, you know, California Love or something like that you would just toss it up, you know, which is father produced.
What? Oh, go ahead. How has your lives changed since the movie has been completed? And I don't mean in the sense of fame that way, but just like as a person, how have you changed as a person since the film was completed? And I know everyone hasn't seen it yet, but just actors.
It's changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? The most important thing for me, like right now, is that to take advantage of my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And taking from Pac and what I got from him in this experience is, you know, you have to take advantage of your opportunities. And work like tomorrow isn't promised. You know what I'm saying? And his work ethic, everybody will tell you that has worked with Pac, is really unmatched. Nobody has ever had his work ethic. And if you look at just the short amount of time that he was here with us and that he was really on, you know what I'm saying? His first album came out in 91. You know, 5 years he accomplished so much, you know what I'm saying, by the age of 25. And that's because his work ethic and what he was trying to do, you know what I'm saying, was crazy. It was through, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I took for myself. It's like, when you're here and you have your opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. You got to smash and get the most of it while you can.
Yeah, I think for me, having the opportunity to play someone as powerful and as strong and amazing as Jada Pinkett, you know, living in that energy as a black woman in Hollywood and being able to understand the importance of integrity and focus and not compromising who you are for an industry that seems sometimes to be hell-bent on trying to compromise the image and the power of black folk. So, you know, I think that staying in the energy and even just like talking about the film, like the second we were done with the film, I've been in promo since, you know, because of the album and all this other stuff. So I've been like talking about the film and talking about Pac and talking about Jada, talking about LT, talking about Meech. So, you know, it's the energy of how powerful this movie is and the movement of African Americans in this industry and the representation of it. That's actually completely not only inspired me, but I feel like it's going to stay with me for the rest of my life.
How it changed for me in life, it just is in being as exhausted as I am with you know, the process of this and all that I've been through. It's actually kind of insane to a lot of people that I feel more inspired and to do more for what I call a underserviced industry, you know. So I feel energized in the exhaustion to do even more for, you know, like I said, it's a shame that in 2017 we're still talking about the first black to do this, the first black to do that. So with this being, you know, I can't say this was my foot in the door, but this is a huge imprint in keeping the door open. I feel inclined to make sure that the door stays open for more and more. It's almost like if we had to go through the back door, I got it open now, said everybody come in here, come on, we're gonna pack it out. And you know, so the people at the front door, when they walk in, it's already full. They don't even know how everybody got in. So it gave me a actual another burst of energy to say, okay, I have to change the perception, you know, because I often say perception is reality. The biggest definition of perception is visual. He who controls the visual controls the perception. So we have to take back our ability to create the visual and create the perception. Therefore, you won't have a scenario where they can turn a kid with an iced tea and a bag of Skittles into a gangster, a gangbanger in an instant when he was clearly the victim.
Demetrius, you had stated that Edie helped you with the essence of Tupac, and you really wanted to know like what he was like at home. Was there anything that you found that like I feel like Tupac was like funny or goofy? Was there anything that you found about him, how he was in his home life versus the Pac we see that you could tell us about?
Well, first LT told me, you know what I'm saying, that Pac was a comedian, like full-fledged, and I didn't know that about him, you know, and looking into the interviews a little bit more, I started to see it. He was saying he's very charismatic, but, you know, definitely told me that he was a comedian, and Edie was telling me stuff like, you know, that he just come in the house one day and like, I'm cooking for everybody, you know what I'm saying, like, get everything together, let's just, you know, have a party, and I'm gonna do everything, and he really was just a genuine giving person. You know what I'm saying? He wanted everybody around him to have a good time, and you know, he was putting people on. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing that I haven't mentioned thus far. You know what I'm saying? Within like the rapping side of Tupac, like Pac would put his homeboys on in a heartbeat. Like if you was ready, you can jump in the booth. You know what I'm saying? To get on. As long as you had to be ready though. It wasn't no playing around and nothing. It's like, all right, you ready to work? He gave a lot of people a lot of opportunity. That's why if you listen to, is that the Machiavelli album where it's a lot of features?
Yeah, a lot of features. Just to go on your point, you come back to it, because I just want to say, like, you're right, we didn't touch on that, but Pac would if you were a producer, you didn't have to be Dr. Dre. He put so many people on, like, he found me, you know, he was like, you be doing all these beats, give me something. And it's like, at that time, I didn't even think that, okay, talk to Snoop about it, you know, talk to somebody about it, because I'm a, you know, new producer and whatever. He didn't care who you was. He just, if it's a hot beat, he just jump on it. And sometimes the beat didn't even have to be hot. He will make it hot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he actually at Death Row, he changed the dynamics of who gets to produce what records, because Pac was like, I don't care. We had this room called the Whack Room, right? And Hail Mary came out of the Whack Room. You know what I'm saying? The Whack Room was the room where it had to go through a different process to get to the studio A and B. You know what I'm saying? So that's why some people, I'm not gonna say their names, some people only produced Pac records, and after, you know, Pac was gone, you never heard from him again, because a lot of people didn't give him the opportunities that Pac gave.
Well, that's that.
Didn't he expound on, was he a good cook? I mean, did he?
He didn't really tell me about that.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Okay.
He just said, you know, that he would come down. He wanted to take care of everybody.
Right,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That was his spirit.
You don't see a lot of men that can pull off a nose ring, and something I really wanted to see in this movie, and selfish it may be, whatever, it was one of the inspirations for me getting one. But do you all know why or is there a story behind him getting the nose ring?
I think it's going to be a Feeny, right? Feeny had it first, right?
Because I know, but you don't know for sure, like why he or when.
I'm just going to imagine that it was because his mom had one.
If it was real, did you have it before?
Yes, this is real right here.
Did you have it before the
Nah,
film?
well, I got it pierced back in 2011 when I first auditioned.
Okay.
And I got it re-pierced when I started filming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow. So you kept it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't keep it. I took it out in 2011.
He had to get it done
I had to
again.
get it done again.
And put like this, him re-getting his nose pierced could have been a movie in itself. It was an episode.
It's painful. It is painful.
Hey, listen, I shed
Because-
so many tears the second time.
Because, like I
For
said,
real.
when he did it the first time, he didn't have the role, so there was nobody around. So when he got the role and we had to re-pierce his nose again,
Wow.
there was a huge meeting called about this piercing and the steps and the process.
Oh, but that wasn't my fault though.
You know
That
what
wasn't
I'm
on me. That was
it was such a production, and I came down the hall and I'm like, hey, listen, time out. Meet, you go and get your nose pierced, bro.
But they
You
was
know
making it
what I'm
like a
saying?
safety issue and all types of stuff.
Safety issues and going to the hospital and when it's gonna heal
They were-
and
right.
how many times he could be in the sun. It's like, yo, listen, he getting his nose pierced today. We can go to the mall. We ain't gotta play all these games. Bring in a specialty.
Go to the mall. Fake one.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you got
gotta go all
you
the
got
way
yes,
down.
you
gotta
know,
do
you gotta
it.
dedicate
You
yourself
gotta do it.
to this.
Method.
You know, you gotta get committed. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx glued his eyes shut with crazy glue for Ray, and he lived
Offset,
life
too.
He lived life blind, so he didn't at night take the crazy glue off. He was blind,
I didn't know that.
you know,
For sure.
for weeks at a time to really understand how to walk blind and what it felt like to be blind. Like, as dedication to the craft. So the nose ring wasn't a big, you know, you gotta
I
take
feel
that.
for you, 'cause I know the pain.
It's not like he had to get, 35 tats.
So was the nose ring the most challenging part
Of what?
of becoming pop? Was that the hardest
Not
thing
even
for you?
slightly. Nah.
What was one of the things that you found most challenging? Because obviously you're taking on the persona of a
Icon.
exactly like
Yeah.
a legend that
Right.
ascended from the sky. Like I'm a hype fan.
That's
So
what's
it's a
up.
big deal. But you're taking on that type of role, and this is your second role.
First row.
First role. So
You
this
saw the
is-
movie, right?
Yeah. of
Okay.
course. This is big business, So obviously you are doing something that is extremely fantastic that carries a lot of pressure. But in spite of that, what was it that you really had the most difficulty with ascertaining as far as being?
There's no specific point that I would say was the most difficult for me. I just did an immense amount of research, just watching Pop and just trying to get everything down as best as possible. Just watching all of the footage that they have on YouTube. I put it on myself to watch it all day, all night, and taking them a step further and learning these interviews verbatim, with the mannerisms and everything. I would sit next to the TV and record myself saying Pac's interviews along with him, trying to get the mannerisms down, doing it, just as close as I can to him, play it back, all right, I got this, I got that, and then, going from there. Along with that, my coach and I, we were, researching Pac's life, his adolescence, his upbringing, how he was raised, the home training, what he got the Black Panther Party, he was raised in that as a kid, his mother and who she was, and how she raised him to be a thinker and a reader, So it was just separating all of that about him, the different layers of Tupac, and diving into each one of those individually and parallel them to my life, and just trying to bring it to the truest form with the essence of Pac.
Was Jada on set at all? And did she get a chance? Did you get to speak to her? Or
Yeah,
anything?
I've spoken to her. She's very supportive and very supportive of this film and of me, which is like, you know what, Jada thinks I'm cool, so F all y'all, you know what I mean? But no, she's been nothing but amazing. This is a very sensitive role for me, because I'm playing a real person, and not just a real person, somebody who's very much a powerhouse still to this day, and also somebody that I genuinely look up to. I like growing up, there was a handful of, women that looked like me that were really successful, and she was one of them. So, and also the delicacy of their friendship, of their bond, capturing that and making sure that we did and honored their dynamic well. That's a big deal for us. So, we wanted to get it right.
What kind of research? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna interrupt you. He been waiting for a second.
Yeah.
I got another question. I'm gonna go off what you were saying. Like in the opening scenes of the movie, when they first mentioned the relationship with Jada Pinkett, it was like I'm a filmmaker, so I seen that he was like, you had to say like we were just friends. Like that's something that she wanted in there, or is that like something that you guys just wanted to highlight?
I'm glad that you kind of touched on that and that to that, and spotted that, because there was no need to really elaborate on something that is not facts. Like they called each other friends. We don't know them to be anything different, so there's no need to speculate and put something in the movie that's not real.
And
You know what I'm
also
saying?
so like not needed to speculate, you know.
Here's the thing. In the creation of it, the choice was made to not do anything that was a over fantasized myth. It was to take the myths out. You know, what their relationship was in its purest form is what I decided to show. You know, there's no reason to try to smuttify it by making it something that neither one of them ever said it was. So regardless of what we thought it was important for me to flush out what it was, and that's the respect of what those two people said it was. So I wasn't gonna put a touch of what everybody says in opinion. The two people said that this is what their relationship was. You gotta respect that.
Right.
Anything else would have been false or, you know, read differently, and it would have took the journey somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? It would have turned into, you know, Chris Darden, Marsha Clark. You know what I'm saying? And that's not what this is about. You know, we want to show exactly how pure the relationship was, even to the point where, like I said, in my trigger points of her coming back, if they had a romantic relationship, right, it would have threw off the trajectory of what she meant to him as the voice of reasoning to pull him back, being the only one that connected with him in a non-romantic way that could say, hey, you tripping right now. Bring it back down. You would have lost that. You follow what I'm saying?
So that letter, I wanted to know, was that like an authentic, like poem?
It's the real letter.
yeah. You never read the Jada poem? Man, I read the Jada poem when I was like 10 years old.
So that's a real, that's the
It's a real poem.
real
You can
poem.
find it online even. You know, I think it's in the Rosa Group for Concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Did you guys have any concern with we've had a lot of biopics come out, and we've had some that have been extremely successful, not very many, but we've had some that have not been, and everyone has been taken through the ringer, from the actors, producers, after these biopics have come out. So was there anything in your mind, were you ever scared, like, you know, I'm doing this, and if this turns out like this, and having approval from family and friends on playing these characters?
no,
Any hesitation?
because LT was behind it. Like, this is somebody who is meticulous and makes sure that the stories are being told right. He's picking the right actors. He's picking the right directors. He's got it down so thoroughly that we have nothing to worry about. If it was maybe someone else's movie, I'll just say I probably wouldn't even audition for it. You know, I've been approached by other biopics. There's a reason that I haven't been in any. You know what I'm saying? And I've turned them down because for us, there aren't that many films that we have that we can look at and say, okay, these are our stories, and they're told with integrity. Integrity of casting, integrity of the performances, integrity of the storyline, and integrity of down to the wardrobe and the hair. So, you know, LT telling this story, and as long as it's taken him to tell this story, like, we have nothing to be worried about. You know, I knew that I wasn't going to get, from before I even auditioned, I'm like, I know that I'm not getting involved in something that is going to be compromising to Jada, or compromising to Pac, or compromising to the African American community, our culture, our pop culture. Like, we need our stories told, but we need them told right. Because if they're not told right, then it diminishes the legacy of these incredible artists.
And to that point, you know, I went through, you know, a few different changes in personnel because of the integrity. You understand what I'm saying? Because exactly what you said and you asked, there could be people that wanted to go in the wrong directions. And, you know, with me being what I call a protector of the culture, you know, it just wasn't going to happen. I don't care if it was Steven Spielberg. You know, we were going to make a movie. I felt, you know, inclined to make a movie that was going to show the truest form of our culture possible. You know, so you guys saw the movie. We could talk in that sense. Now that you've seen it, you see what we did and how much we paid attention to detail, and we didn't go here or go there, because in this film it is so easy to get off track because there's so many myths and so many rumors to glorify the over personification of certain things that, you know, it's easy. Like me personally, it's like there's parts that I could have stayed on for 30 minutes but that would be me personally. It wouldn't necessarily serve Tupac. This is Tupac's movie. You know what I mean? Point blank. And everybody that was involved in the movie just had to understand that. Even the characters that we portray. You know, there are people that wanted, well, I'm not in the movie long enough, or I'm not in the movie. And it's like, well, listen, it is not your movie. And there will be time for, you know, everybody else to tell their story, but in this story, we just had to be clear and understand that this was Tupac's story. Not the untold story of X, Y, and Z. It's Tupac. And he needed, because he did so much in so little time, trust me, he needed all of that real estate. You know what I'm saying? To get what we accomplished in 2 hours and 20 minutes. If I one wrong piece with the real estate, you know, you'd have been lost, because we wouldn't have had time to flush out whatever that was.
Speaking of paying attention to detail, please let me know if that was Snoop's voice.
We're not gonna tell it the movie. They gotta go see it.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I have no idea. I don't even know what part
But
you're
I
talking
love
about.
that, like,
Yeah.
that's one thing that's really amazing, is that all of us have been told that we sound like,
Yeah.
I've been told that I sound like Jada in the film, and you know, he
Yes,
gets
sir.
it a little bit. So it's
That
props to
whoever
the
played,
actor.
if he really was talking like Snoop, he did get it.
I have a two-parter. If somebody else, sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm
That's a little, you
Can
know.
you guys describe your audition process?
Okay.
Sorry.
Can you describe your audition process?
Go ahead, Kat. Tell them how you got it, girl.
I begged, I pleaded.
She was
I
on the side of the
auditioned.
freeway selling oranges.
Selling oranges, right?
Tell them how you got it.
You know, did I send a tape in? Originally, I think I just auditioned because I was living in Atlanta because I was shooting Vampire Diaries. I was in the middle of shooting the season, right? I didn't even think I was gonna get it because, you know, I was in the middle of something else, and you know, usually I didn't think this would be a big thing, and I auditioned for it, and I didn't hear anything. This was before Benny was attached. I didn't hear anything for like a month, and then I came in, and like I remember like a week before I even auditioned for it, I had like shaved off all my hair. I don't know why. I was just like, man, I'm just like, that was the part of my life. As Black women, hair is such a big deal, and I don't know that anyone's gonna understand this when I say it, but like that was a huge part of where I was as a woman, when I just wanted to like cut off all my hair and say that I just like, this is where I want to be. So, excuse me. So it's interesting that I had cut all my hair exactly how Jada had her hair, and then I booked the role. So I felt like already energetically moving in that direction to play this woman. I only had 2 auditions. It was a longer process for Meech and maybe for the other characters, but for me, I was really blown away that I went in to just meet Benny, and he was introducing me as Jada, and that was how I found out that I got the role. So it's really interesting and really, but I know that LT fought for us. No one would imagine that we had to be fought for, because he saw something in us that maybe people in Hollywood or people that aren't a part of the music community or the specific life that Pac had, but he fought for us.
And did you see the movie?
Yeah.
Once again, did you see the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who else? That's all I'd say. I said, who else? You know, she killed it. She killed
Have you
it.
guys seen the film? Have you seen it? And will you see it on the 16th?
We'll see it on the 14th, but I haven't seen. We've seen a cut together, like
We've seen a cut.
in September of last year or something like that.
When you say what is a cut? When you say a cut, like the whole thing, or
We
like
seen
It
the
was
whole
the whole
version.
thing.
The
But-
version.
A version.
Certain
Early version.
scenes might not have,
So
might
you
not still
haven't
be
seen
in
the
here.
full thing
Nah,
yet?
No.
So you seen some I ain't seen yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Guaranteed.
Well, I kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mystique.
a little mystique.
Last question.
Cause you wouldn't ask me, have I seen it? You was asking them, right?
We know you've seen it like 30 times.
30.
It wasn't.
millions. It wasn't leaving anywhere if LT didn't approve it, which makes me feel a lot really relaxed because I'm like, it's good. I know it's great.
Okay, so I know you guys may have heard. I'm sorry. You can call me first. Okay. To Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick Lamar has the song "Mortal Man" where he interviews Pac, and then he does an interview for Pac here on his own. So I was just wondering if you guys had the opportunity, specifically had in the future, what would you ask Pac if you were able to interview him? Do you have some questions that you would have been able to ask?
I wouldn't. Oh my God, that's a great question. Interview Pac, I couldn't just like interview him. I'd have to like, we have to chill for a day, man. We just gotta just go do some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hit the streets.
You have to smoke some more cigarettes.
Nah, not smoking a cigarette. You have to hit the blunt too with Pac. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
For sure.
What I would say, you know, I don't know that, I think I would just thank him because he was the voice of so many movements. What he was talking about when he was alive is stuff that we're still dealing with today. And I would thank him for being still a figure today, that his presence in the world, not just like on, you know, just even on Instagram, seeing kids repost his quotes and stuff like that is just still to this day so relevant. So I think I would take that time to thank him because it's interesting because LT said, you know, he could always reference what Pac said because when he would get interviewed, he would go on for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, and he would cover so many different things that I feel like if I had a question, I feel like in some way I could find my answer in some of his interviews, and he was very thorough with how he expressed himself. So I think I would just take the opportunity and just thank him because we've needed his voice and still need his voice to this day.
My man.
I'm gonna end with this question. This kind of directly towards LT because he was like around that time with coaching. Like, what was Pac's last like feelings between him and Big before he died?
It was gonna be resolved. It was over. You know, he had made amends with Nas. You know, he had made amends with a lot of the people that because you saw the movie. So what happened between him and the guy in the movie? I don't want to say what happens. You know what I'm talking about, the last thing before Vegas. That actually, even though he didn't want to admit it, it shook him up to really understand because previously we had arguments in the studio that led up to what happened on the plane because it was a scenario where the climate was beyond dangerous and, you know, we knew these guys and we didn't want to perpetuate the nonsense. We were tired of it. So, you know, we didn't want to keep going back and forth. It was a lot of things going on, shootings and you know, different things before that. It got very serious. So it was like, and what is it about? What is this beef about? So that helped him, you know, even change his thinking. And he was, you know, going into the studio to change other records. That's why the record I did called Watch Your Mouth, it's a diss record. And it's online now for everybody because it came out. But Watch Your Mouth was on Machiavelli, right? We pulled Watch Your Mouth when he was killed because one of the last things he wanted to do, he wanted to change the record and take the disses out. Because he was still dissing people on Watch Your Mouth. If you go online, you can find this song, unreleased track by me with Pac. And that was a testament to the truth that he was changing because he wouldn't have called and said, look, I want to take this off. You know, that was one of the last things he wanted to do was take the diss records off of Machiavelli. And he wanted to change it. And so, yeah, from my personal, I would speak personally, I know for a fact he said he was done with it. You know what I mean? It was going to be resolved. He actually got it. He actually did talk to Nas in New York, and they deaded the beef. Took a walk in the park, and they deaded that. He was going to reach out to everybody else and did those situations too, and he never got the opportunity, you know, to actually make the phone calls. But yeah, he was going to end all of it.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you guys for coming.
Sorry for the short time. I thought we had it longer, you know, but we got hard outs, you know. Katarina has to get to the airport.
Why you got?
You know what I'm saying?
You put it right on you.
Yeah.
Y'all
If you got any other questions, DM me, man. I'll talk to you.
Give me 1
all
second,
night.
dog.
You know what I'm saying?